Welcome to Thoughts on Change, the podcast about the messy, political, emotional, deeply human side of leading change. I'm Kelly, and I believe anyone can implement lean tools until they actually have to get people to use them. Around here, we talk about how to move culture, how to build credibility, and how to influence without bulldozing. Basically, how to herd humans without losing your mind. Hi, friends and fellow CI warriors. I want to pause for a moment and name something that's been unfolding over the last few weeks. If you've been listening to this podcast in order, you might have noticed a shift. We started by talking about Resistobots, those internal reactions that show up when change gets uncomfortable. Then we moved into the transform framework, which is about how to stop inviting resistance and start approaching change differently. And lately, we've been deep in a series on credibility. And at first glance, this might feel like a sharp turn in focus, but it's not. Here's what I've been hearing from so many of you, especially women in continuous improvement roles. I'm doing the work. I'm trying not to fight resistance. I'm even thinking differently. But what I really want is to be taken seriously, to be trusted and seen as someone who can lead real change. And that desire for credibility, it isn't shallow. It's not about ego. It's about impact. Because without credibility, even the best ideas and intentions can stall out. And with credibility, change starts to move, sometimes without you even needing to push it. And here's the insight that changed everything for me. Credibility isn't something you add on. It's something that emerges. It emerges from how you respond under pressure, how you engage when people push back, how you balance empathy with direction, and how you move change forward without dragging everyone with you. In other words, credibility is the result of how you lead change. And when you start noticing your Resistobots, when you stop reacting automatically, when you learn to observe, reveal the root, and make an alliance, something subtle but powerful will start happening. People will feel less managed, less steamrolled, less done to, and more understood, respected, and involved. And that's not just a technique. That's a shift in the type of change leader you are being. As I coach more and more women through this process, I continue to notice a pattern. The women who stop fighting resistance, who build credibility naturally, and who create momentum without burning out, they aren't doing random things better. They're showing up differently in consistent ways. And that's when I realized that what we're really talking about here isn't just tools or frameworks. We're talking about a way of being as a change leader. And that realization is what has led me to name something I've been seeing for years, but hadn't fully articulated yet. And it's a model for how credible change leaders think, how they move through resistance fluidly, how they navigate the business environment, how they engage the right people, not everybody, the right people, how they create energy instead of exhaustion. And I've packaged all these characteristics into what I'm calling the change shaper. And before we fully unpack it, I want you to hear this. Credibility is the outcome, and being a change shaper is the way to get that. Now, if you've been listening to the credibility series and thinking, oh, wow, I've lost credibility here, or this explains why that change effort never stuck, or I can see how my good intentions landed wrong. Don't worry. You're not behind. You are right on time. Because this is the moment where your awareness can turn into choice. And one more thing, because I know some of you are also thinking, okay, but what do I do in the moment when resistance shows up? How does this actually work? That's where we're going to go next, after we explore what being a change shaper really means. I'll introduce some simple, practical ways to apply all of this in real conversations, real meetings, and real change moments. It'll be a way to stay grounded, credible, and effective even when things get messy. And I'm calling it being fluent in change. But first, I want to talk about who you can become as a change leader and how it is different than what many of us are taught when we start out. So if you've been feeling like you're doing all the right CI things, but still struggling to influence, you're exhausted from pushing change uphill, or you're ready to lead change in a way that actually feels aligned, stick with me. In the next episode, we're going to step fully into what it means to be that change shaper and what becomes possible when credibility stops being something you chase and starts being something you embody. I'll see you there. That's a wrap for this episode of Thoughts on Change. If you're also out there trying to move culture instead of just installing tools, hit subscribe and share this with a fellow CI warrior. And remember, progress beats perfection, curiosity beats control, and culture beats everything. See you next time.